Hello everyone, I just wanted to show you what I've been up to. It's the Batbone Tricopter from the great guys at Flight Test. I bought the Batbone kit, which comes with the central frame in that distinctive bat shape, rotor bones, motor mounts, / landing gear, rear tilt servo, motor mechanism, no servo included, and the wooden arms. It all went together really quickly and I'm very happy with the construction. I'm flying this with a Multiwii controller board and the FR Sky telemetry receiver. I've flown a few FPV flights with it, and I'm really impressed with how it flies. In this video I just wanted to show some images of how it went together, construction, and a little bit of video, particularly the Maiden video, Maiden flight. So, looks pretty good, and here's the Maiden flight. As you can see, it needs a good bit of tuning on the bid values. It drifts around quite a bit. I attribute most of the drift to the accelerometer picking up a lot of vibration. I did balance the propellers, but I believe those green propellers on the front are just such poor quality that no amount of foam on the controller board or balancing is ever going to fix it. In this flight I tuned the PIDs and turned on the dampening of the accelerometer. It really seemed to make a huge improvement. It really wasn't that big of a change in the code. As I get more and more comfortable with it, I really see where the PID values can be altered to knock out the drift and also to correct any oscillations or overcompensation that it starts to do. So here we have the first flight where I put the GoPro on board, and you can tell a little bit more how the twitchiness of the entire system. It's not a perfectly stable video platform like what I was really hoping for just yet. But again, this is before I really improved and worked on the tuning. There's my neighbor's cat. I wasn't quite brave enough to try the FPV just yet. As you can see, I was wearing the goggles and I tried it for a few seconds, but decided that the area that I was in was just a little bit too small to start with. It is a ton of fun to fly around low and fast, just zipping around. I can definitely appreciate the fun flying of the Tricopter. So here we are flying in the good old open field back behind the ballpark. This is where I first put on the goggles and got that experience here in the Tricopter. I have to say it's a lot easier than when I was flying under the goggles with the flying wing. Even though the wing is fun and it feels natural, it's a little bit faster than hovering around, and you kind of get your bearings a lot better. If you got people to watch you, the wing is fine. But like me, I'm kind of out here on my own. It's just really nice to hover around and be able to get a nice view from up high. You can really start to feel the wind up here. There was no wind down on the ground, but it seems as though there was some wind up higher. Of course, this was also before I really started playing around with the PID settings and adjusting fine-tuning the accelerometer. I have to say the one thing that I'm really not great at is landing this thing, FPV. You just can't really judge how high you are, so that, and of course you don't want to get tangled up in the grass, the high grass, so I kind of cut the throttle a little high and wound up nailing the ground a bit harder than I'd like. Really love some of the sunset views and vistas you get from up at this altitude. It's really not that high. The GoPro makes it look a lot higher, but 150 foot up, and you can just see a long ways away. Here you can really start to feel some of the effects of the overcompensation on the accelerometer. I like to think that I've corrected most of this in the current settings. I couldn't resist. Had to do that. It's a little more fun when you have a lot of speed, like when I did it in the wing, but this makes it a little more challenging because you got to worry about your 3D space. This was flying the next day. I did have a chance to modify the PIDs and only slightly improve the overcorrection issues. Still got to work on those landings. I'm only getting about 4 minutes flight time per battery. That's with the 2200 milliamp hour battery. Part of the problem, I think, is the motors are a little bit too small. I went with the recommended Park 300. I believe they're 1300 kV motors that Flight Test recommended on their store. After having purchased them, I went back through the forums and found where quite a few people said that that wasn't big enough for carrying a GoPro and FPV gear. Well, that wasn't the landing I was hoping for. At this point I was getting a little bit more brave and decided to try out a roll. Definitely don't recommend doing that unless you have a good bit of altitude, especially if you're running undersized motors like I am. About here the low voltage alarm started going off on my telemetry system, so decided to bring it on in, and rather than land at FPV, I decided to try to land at line of sight. Probably not a good idea. This landing damaged the rear landing gear to the point that the servo was no longer held down. It also cracked the CA glue bond on the laser cut plywood camera tray. I redid the camera tray with tight bond wood glue. It's much stronger that way, and I repaired the landing gear with Gorilla Glue. Hope you enjoyed my initial videos of the Batbone, and I hope it encourages some of y'all to take the plunge and go for a tricopter of some sort. I really enjoyed this one, and I highly recommend anybody who's interested get into the multi-rotor hobby. Next videos will be showing the nice coating of snow we've had all over around here.